Welcome back. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, community. Yes, Rasta family. Hello, hello, hello. We back with part two. Attacking the nuclear family. Okay? Like, hit that sub button, go back, see the first part of the Attacking the Nuclear Family because it's always imperative to see these sagas in sequence and understand what we're talking about. Because misalignment within it, you may not align with the overstanding of these things. And I myself am Rastafari, you know what I'm saying? And I am spiritual in that entity of that. Excuse me. And I just try to be opinionated in these things, and hopefully somebody overstands me. And it's a concept to retrain the mind and just kind of go forward with that and just kind of put these thoughts out. So for the attack of the nuclear family, more so, it's always stemmed around men's mental health. But for this saga, honestly, this was brought to me by a brother named TC. It kind of hits everybody. So women's mental health, man's mental health, adolescent mental health. I was going to say teen and all that, but that's all considered adolescent. So the different stages of mental health that these things did, and we're talking about systems. So when the family was once together strongly in different ways and, you know what I'm saying, together, and this what kind of broke it up and how it broke it up and how it messed us up mentally, because if we overstand this, then we can correct it, I think. But if we don't, then that's where we be misaligned. And we can disagree on small things and still move forward. I think that's fair. Okay? Again, hit that like button, hit that sub button, pass this on to somebody, because, you know what I'm saying, this ain't bashing. That's what I don't get. We ain't bashing somebody, and while we not bashing somebody, people look for bashing. I think that's weird. Why do we got to bash each other to get an overstanding of something? You know what I'm saying? I say one of the people I don't necessarily idolize, but I look up to is a guy named Buju Banton. Jamaican artist, you know what I'm saying? But the wisdom that he has, I think is incredible. Again, Malcolm X post Mecca, you know what I'm saying? But you couldn't get Malcolm X post Mecca without Malcolm X pre Mecca. You can't get Buju Banton post prison without Buju Banton pre prison. You see what I'm saying? Like, so all these things is an alignment to get somebody to the next step. I would also like to say, again, thank you to Brother TC for that. I thank everybody, because at this time of recording, I got 39 supporters. Thank y'all. I don't know what the count will be when I release, but thank you. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't get to per se watch them and things like that, I do ask everybody to take time and just hear something out. You know what I'm saying? Get you a drink, get you something to smoke, whatever gets you to sit down and just conversate for a moment. That's what this is. And it is nothing but positivity. You know what I'm saying? Because if we get it right, we do better. If we get it wrong, we can just correct it and try it again. That's what it's about. Also, I'm going to go at anything that I do with purity, and I'm going to do my damnedest to hit it hard as I can. I got an edge to me because I didn't grow up in the best situation. I'm not talking about my parents at all. But we from, you know what I'm saying, the structure where, you know what I'm saying, things was a little bit harder. So you had the grit. And the thing that is about having the grit, you have to adapt. And that adaptability is a monster. So as I learn and as I, you know what I'm saying, build, hopefully y'all do it with me and y'all can at least hear the purity of what I'm trying to say. At this point, I'm going to do a small prayer, nothing crazy. But I would just like to say, John, thank you for aligning me with the voice and the supporters of who are even willing to hear my voice in this time. For us to find spiritual alignment, just to hear and get a message across and pass this wisdom on to somebody else, or even if somebody's in darkness, just for them to get out of that dark place and know that they're not alone, because we all are in dark places at any time, and that your voice and your name is glory to everything, and that we always say blessings and not amen, because we don't give glory to amen. We are not the salvation. We are not the glory. It is you that is the glory, because you are the entity of everything. You are life. You are death. You are air, you are water, you are everything that is sound in this world and the beyond. So blessings on to Jah. With that, we're gonna get into this with the Tackling Nuclear Family Part 2. I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but I'm trusting my voice a little bit more, so I write bullet points so y'all will see me less looking at the paper. We'll see how this goes. So this one, Tackling a Nuclear Family Part 2. We had Part 1, and Part 1 was cool. I'm gonna kind of just scroll back just a teeny bit. So Tackling Nuclear Family Part 1, we just kind of hit the structure on, you know what I'm saying, the welfare system and how that affected us, and then what they did to the mothers and children because they told the father to leave. And, you know what I'm saying, that's the welfare system, you know what I'm saying, it made the fathers leave. It put a lot more on the mothers, and the kids saw the mothers struggling, and it gave this independency to mothers, but dependency with, you know what I'm saying, leaning on the government for assistance. But then it left the father alone, and the father starts to fall into different types of substance, whether it was, you know what I'm saying, drug issues, sexual issues, alcoholism, or just beating himself in these many different things and a less value of himself. So again, everything is mental health. So as we understand these things, the idea of these things is to get to every single saga to end with positivity, or at least of an understanding of, you know what I'm saying, what we possibly are facing in this world. So again, I'm sorry, Part 2. So we're going to talk about failed systems, underfunding, and damaged kids. And what I mean when I say this is I'm talking about the school system. And we got to have these talks. So we already kind of talked about a little bit on the surface in Part 1, how it affects, you know what I'm saying, the welfare system used to affect the mother and the children and the father. So we're going to kind of push until also an attack on the school system. So let's get into it. Pass this one. So failed systems. What I mean by failed system is we used to have a lot of trades back in the day. Again, where it was a little bit, I think, more successful. It still was rough, but they required a lot of boys to take wood shop, anything that made their hands and find a trade, building, things like that. You were sound to learn. So even if you wasn't the best in understanding school and curriculum, you had a second chance because you could build with your hands. So if you could get land, you could make the land, you know what I'm saying, fruitful. You know what I mean? And at that point, understand, if you have that understanding of everything, you know what I'm saying, and we're talking about back in the day. So I'm saying this also should be applied to women who wants to do this. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get a wood shop, blessings, do your thing, spiritual alignment, we there. But that's just the way I feel. But when they had this, you know what I'm saying, it gave a lot of young men and adolescent teens and young boys a courage and encouragement. Well, even if I'm struggling in school, which I struggled in school, a possibility of doing something positive and feeling like you wasn't so left out and understanding the things. So imagine when they take this thing out, how it messes with a kid's mind who's trying to find a voice when you feel like you don't fit in. You see what I'm saying? Also, home economics, or, you know what I'm saying, cooking is what I'm saying. Maybe, hopefully I'm saying the right thing. Where young ladies learn how to cook, you know what I'm saying? And again, if guys want to cook, I also love cooking. Don't take what I'm saying out of context and be like, I'm saying this directly. I'm just kind of pinpointing kind of where we, was, and kind of giving you a structure to kind of look at. You see what I'm saying? For everything I'm saying, men, women, you know what I'm saying? And then giving adolescents that too. So it's overcurrents and there's undercurrents to everything. So all this is tied. This video, this saga is to everybody's mental health. So with losing a trade of learning how to cook, you didn't know how to provide for a family or provide for yourself and care for yourself. So this leads to, you know what I'm saying, where once you had to learn an independency, Now you got to be dependent, and you no longer can be as interdependent with somebody. This is school systems now we're talking about, which is the most important. It starts at home, most definitely. But school, you typically would spend a lot of time at school, and then by the time you come home, you got chores and stuff like that, and you get ready to go to bed, you got to get up and do it again. So imagine how much your awake time really is your 9 to 5 job curriculum. And we don't realize these things, okay? And that's what I'm getting at. My last bullet point of this segment is the trade. So when I'm saying failing systems, I'm saying the things that we once had that was once taken, that is now taken away. And you hear things of career center. Me myself, I applied for getting into, I believe it was, Jesus, y'all gonna know how old I I am. But when I was in high school, I think it was Northeast Career Center, I want to say, who did things for people who wanted to cook, and I wanted to be a chef. I love cooking. My mom, like, you know what I'm saying, you don't know how to cook, because I was struggling in school. They would try to teach me a curriculum, and I just couldn't understand it for whatever reason. I'll get into that segment, but I just couldn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much they would try to do this and that, I'm just like, it just not, 2 and 2 not equaling 4 for who I am. You know what I'm saying? In my mindset at this time. And I would fail, you know what I mean? But, you know what I'm saying? I'm slow to catch on to things, and I don't mind saying that, because as soon as you think I'm stupid, then the trick is on you. You know what I'm saying? I'm never a stupid person. I may be slow to catch the concept, as in, I may not get it as quick as you do in this lane, you know what I'm saying? But in another lane, I'm way ahead of you, you know what I mean? And that's not talking out of being cocky, that's talking with humility. You know what I'm saying? Because we're, you know what I'm saying, everybody is good in a little less comprehensive in a structure of a dynamic in any Pacific lane. So depending on which lane we're talking about, things come off different, okay? Sorry, I'm getting lost and I'm over talking. But that's what I mean. So, you know what I mean? With that being the structure of me struggling with a failed system, you know what I'm saying? I got into some trouble. I ain't gonna quite get into something else, but with me having a cracked foundation in some things, a lot of people didn't know at the time and still don't know. No disrespect to nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking for myself as a person at that time in school. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, I just couldn't figure nothing out. And I felt like I had a voice. I just know how to pick the voice. I was good at, like, the arts. I used to draw like crazy. I could write poetry like crazy. So I was, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't say intelligent, but I always seek knowledge or an intelligence to something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but school always made me feel like it was like, I don't know, it just made me feel absent. No matter what they threw at me, I just felt like I couldn't find an understanding of it, overstanding of it. So we're gonna get into part 2, which is, again, we're talking about schooling from the attack of the nuclear family. So I'm gonna do a quick review. I talk more so as a kid because we're talking about school systems. The father's kicked out of the home, the mother's already overworked. The kids are taking the brute force of everything, which is the next generation, which is creating what they believe is an independency, because you are you, which is really creating a dependency on the government. You see what I'm saying? So now mothers are overworked, fathers are absent, they're out of the picture. And even if they believe that they're protected, they can't pass on knowledge, the system's broken. Mothers are now the second teachers, but they're so overworked that, again, they don't realize the fathers were pushed out of the home for real, and that they're carrying this load because of the system, not the fathers. And now we're not leaning on each other no more, and we're just more so combating each other. So instead of walking like this, we're more so doing this. And if you notice, if you know one thing, it's a rule that 2 objects can't and I'm going to say it wrong a little bit, but y'all get the concept. No two objects can obtain the same space at one time. I know I'm saying it wrong. Basically, I believe it's Isaac Newton. You know what I'm saying? No two solid things or no two things can, you know what I'm saying, be in the same place. As you know, I can't make these two hands bond into each other because they cannot, you know what I'm saying, obtain the same space. They can clash, and depending on how they clash, no matter what, it's got a reaction. So no matter how hard I hit it, it's going to have some type of reaction, whether I feel it or it's going to bounce back. You know what I'm saying? So we clash and we stop. You know what I'm saying? We just keep doing this instead of like working together in aligning. So it affects mothers in a bad way where they no longer feel like they have the man in the home in that way. They can no longer, you know what I'm saying? They trying to go to the schools and obtain all this. She's carrying the load. He's carrying the load too because he's absent trying to be there. But the system is like anything that you do is non-existent. So you took away the protector. And it affects that kid in the school system who's supposed to be the next generation. So underfunding is anything of them taking that away. So now we have overcrowded, what I believe is overcrowded classrooms. Compared to like me, if you don't know, I'm like more so ADHD. Like for people who know me, they'll tell you. Like, I'm jittery. I'm very jittery. Even when I'm tired, like, sometimes I'll, like, click my fingers and stuff. Like, I'm very, very jittery. Even when I'm tired, I'm jittery. I gotta rock myself. You know what I'm saying? I can't, you know what I'm saying, just stay still. It is what it is. I don't know why. I used to bang my head on the pillow. Y'all can make fun of me in the comments. I really don't care. It don't bother me none. I take care of my kids, so have fun with it. But with that overstanding, I just never could stay still. So now that we got these low income, you know what I'm saying, classrooms, the curriculum isn't fed right. We got overworked teachers who can't, you know what I'm saying, give individual time in fair classrooms to these kids who may be more so like I am, hands on. You can't just throw a book per se in front of me and be like, learn it. It's not who I am, you know what I'm saying? I can sit there and read it all day, but I'm going to have to read it 5-6 times over to get an overstanding of it. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't get that. And nobody's going to arrest me. I'm grown now, so. Respectfully, and I mean that respectfully because I know as people see these videos, you may think if you can tangibly touch me that I'm dumb. I don't let nobody intimidate me. But, with that being an overstanding, imagine when you're in school how less of your voice you can, you know what I'm saying, push. You know what I'm saying? At this time, you're supposed to be the next generation, but you don't have that much of a voice. They don't respect it. And the teachers who's trying to really push you to the next level are now overworked, stressed out, they're caring less, they got their own problems, things of that nature. Because understand why we're talking about these teachers. These teachers are 9 times out of 10 dealing with their own families, maybe pushed out, maybe a woman who's carrying it all, maybe a father who's pushed out, who don't get to see his kids, trying to figure out how to see his kids. They're caught up in the same system 9 times out of 10, dealing with trying to raise your kids and get them to understand these things. But it is from the government, the attack of the nuclear family. Oh, and I said overcloud. I actually covered the whole thing. That's crazy. Because of low income of everything, again, which I said, we got overcrowded classrooms and overworked teachers. Covered the whole thing. That's why I'm trying to trust my voice. And what I mean by damaged kids, so now you got that third segment is the damaged kids. So now we're behind. We're not caught up with those who may have as good of resources of these things in a different climate or a different section. And understand this is not pertaining to just what I would consider black, Hispanic. For anybody who grows up in the inner city of poor, you know what I'm saying, things, you understand what I'm talking about. You take probably the most brutal hit of everything, and to a degree, middle wage, you know what I'm saying, same thing. You take a hit. wealthy, you may not quite understand, but to y'all, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I won't disrespect them. But now that you're behind in overstanding of things, you're not caught up where you should be in the world compared to the different countries, compared to what the country's saying you should be. So what that makes you? They done took away possibly factory jobs, this, that, and other. So now you're aligned to just do what? A 9 to 5 that gives you only so much of a cap to rise, and where the company really needs you, you depending on the company. You're really begging the company to keep you, so you're going to overwork yourself to beg for a minimum wage pay to barely make it, because you got to make it to that next payday to do the same thing. This is what you're getting prepared for. Getting back, because I'm running with time. So now kids get into trouble. Kids who I dabbled in trying to get into trouble, trying to figure it out. I didn't fit into no crowd. I always end up isolating and finding who I am by myself. But I dabbled in everything. The gangsters who are considered gangsters where I'm from and where I'm at a certain time, fought most of them. We cool now, we grown. Not super tough again. I'm not going to even pertain to that, but I tried this and that. But I ain't got no issues, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, we all trying to figure these things out and have an understanding these things, and we're lost. And we're careless. My third bullet point to that is because we're careless. Unfortunately, some are gone too soon at this time. As you know, where we from, you know what I'm saying? And I'm from a certain section where, I'm from a red section, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean me per se, but where predominantly where I was growing up, where I really became conscious of being, I grew up under a red flag, you know what I'm saying? So it's nothing but, y'all know what I'm saying, so it's nothing but bloods everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And you got to know how to maneuver into that, you know what I'm saying? And I got both of my family, and I caught myself trying to, you know what I'm saying, wiggle through the motions of certain things if you follow me. But it led to a lot of people who I was close to being gone to certain things and all that. You kind of see the game is whacked out. I ain't dissing nothing with the, you know what I'm saying, the squads or anything, but I'm saying the system is whacked out, and it takes away from a lot of things. And it makes us careless. You know what I'm saying? No matter the race, the color, or anything. And all this messes with a child's being of comprehension. Teens becoming pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Teens going too soon. Teens giving up. Teens becoming addicts. You know what I'm saying? The drug use of teenagers. And imagine how this affects the mother and the father. And unstable. You know what I'm saying? You already going up in an unstable environment. Drugs was already implanted to the lower income communities. People are trying to figure it out. Now you can't go home. Where is it? Home's not safe. School's not safe. So you're just trying to figure out, so what do? You become part of the problem. Any way to get money, and you're confused. Anyway, this is part 2 of Attacking the Nuclear Family. Hopefully I didn't ramble per se. I'm trying to trust my voice. And hopefully I spoke up decent enough, Mama Mary. I appreciate you telling me to speak up, and I love you. Hopefully I did it justice somewhat, and gave faith to it. I put faith and joy to everything. So, Attacking the Nuclear Family Part 2. Be ready for Part 3. Watch all 3 sagas in the correct order. And just thank you for tuning in. Got a Rasta Rocks. Bless up. One love, spiritual alignment. Peace. Love y'all. Get a Rasta family. Rasta family. I and I. Let go.